On November 8th, 2016, a good portion of our country was stunned by the election of Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States. Trump won the popular vote in 30 out of 50 states. He took 306 out of 578 electoral votes. Clinton got 232. The way our country works, and has worked for over 230 years, that's a landslide. At about 9:30 on that election night, we started to see something develop that has never in our history ever existed. The rise of hatred has bubbled up to a level unseen in the world since, well, the World War II. Let's get this straight. Large groups of people don't normally house and express mass hatred for something or someone unless they're incited to do so. As of 9:30 on that November 8th, 2016 election night, the media and the left in this country were so stunned, so horrified, and so mortified that they had lost to an outsider. Yes, an outsider that will not be controlled, not be predictable, and most of all, will not be shamed into politically correct behavior that they, the left, and the media, which has been populated to a large extent by the left, they lost their collective minds, and since that moment, they've carried on a campaign of vitriol which has targeted every deed, every word, literally every breath that comes out of our now President, Donald J. Trump. Aided by the likes of George Soros, the communist/socialist billionaire, demonstrations have been organized throughout the country to grab attention, and these are not just protests, these are events pre-planned and paid for. They're mindless, violent riots staged to detract the country from thinking about any good, any progress, which might be made by the new administration. Because if he does succeed, if Donald Trump does well by taking back the government from the establishment, it will then cause massive damage to the progress big government leftists and bureaucrats have made over the last 50 years. Think about this. When Barack Obama or any other president in our history has been elected, liberal or conservative, the country normally gets on with their lives, they accept the process, and the country goes on as it has for over 230 years, and we continue to be that shining example to the world, the example of peace and order and everything else that makes America the envy of all who know the limitations and challenges that freedom faces throughout the rest of the world. Now we're looking at a trend, one that could do us more damage than anyone can imagine. A trend that can drag America to the level of every other country in the world, one of chaos and instability. So every time we see a hate-filled demonstration on TV or read a biased headline put out by the New York Times or some other liberal media outlet, every time we see an attack on the actions of Trump or an individual in the Trump administration who up until now has been accepted and respected, we all must ask ourselves if this is the way our nation should be headed. Opposition is essential to our system, but the mindless nonsense that has been thrown at us for the last 3 or 4 months, this country is made great by opposition that offers thoughtful, reasonable alternatives to be considered within our system, a system which has served us well for over 200 years, a system which has made America the greatest success story in modern history.